Yes, here we go again, give you more.
It's time for the RMAC Radio Show, featuring all the latest information from around the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. The RMAC is a proud member of NCAA Division II. Now, here's your host, Eric Danner.
Welcome to the RMAC Radio Show. My name is Eric Danner. We have another big show planned for you today. We're going to talk with Mike Moskowitz, the head men's basketball coach at Western State. In this first segment, then we're going to talk women's basketball with Kip Drown of CSU Pueblo. Don't look now, but the Thunderwolves in third place in the RMAC. And then we're going to wrap things up with Gavino Archuleta from New Mexico Highlands, and we'll talk about Cowboys athletics. But we start with men's basketball, and Metro State back on track in their winning ways and in sole possession of first place in the RMAC now with a 10-1 record. Colorado Mines at 9-2. The Ore Diggers falling to Adams State 70-59 this past weekend. ASC now 8-3, a game back of Colorado Mines and 2 back of Metro. Nebraska Kearney kind of flying under the radar, but the Lopers playing very good basketball this year at 7-4. Mike Dentlinger, our RMAC/Baden Offensive Player of the Week. Colorado Mesa, Fort Lewis, UCCS all at 6-5. Then we have New Mexico Highlands at 6-6. Right now, those would be your 8 teams in the RMAC tournament if it started right now. Of course, we got half the season left to go. 11 games in, 11 games to go in conference play. CSU Pueblo at 5-6. Western New Mexico 5-7. Then we got Western State, Chadron State at 4-7. Regis at 1-10, and Colorado Christian at 1-10. And looking at the shape of RMAC men's basketball, Western State sitting at 4-7. They've won a couple of big games in a row, and we're now joined by the head coach of the Mountaineers. His name is Mike Moskowitz. Coach Moskowitz, how's it going today?
It's going great. Good win last weekend, so we just got done with practice, and our kids are feeling pretty good about themselves.
Talking with Mike Moskowitz, head men's basketball coach at Western State, fourth year as the head coach there. He's been there previously as an assistant, been around the RMAC a long time. Coach, 4-7, I know probably not exactly where you wanted to be, but not exactly a bad place to be as we enter the last 11-10 games of the season.
No, it's one of those things. At the beginning of the RMAC season, we struggled to kind of close games out, and we've kind of figured that out here in the last few games. But not a bad, everybody's kind of jumbled up there in the middle, and, I think we're playing our best basketball now, so hopefully that continues for the second half of the RMAC season.
Talking with Mike Moskowitz from Western State, and a huge win this past weekend, Coach. I know a lot of things were going on at Western State. You had the governor in the house, I believe, and tell me about that atmosphere this past weekend.
It was a great atmosphere and environment to play in. He was down awarding our national champion cross-country team their national championship trophy. So with him being in the crowd, him being in the gym, it brought some extra people to the gym to watch the game, and it was a great environment for our kids, and I really think that helped us kind of propel ourselves to that win versus Mesa.
Talking with Mike Moskowitz, and he got the big win over Mesa before that, CSU Pueblo, and even against some teams like Metro. You guys have really hung in there. I mean, looking at your scores, you don't see a lot of blowouts, anything like that. What are you doing, Coach? What's kind of your philosophy this year in having all these close games?
We've been that way for a couple of years. We're pretty new. We brought in 9 new student athletes to play for us this year. So defense has been our strong point up to this point, kind of gelling and getting chemistry on the offensive side of the ball has been the biggest challenge. But I think we're hitting our stride at the right time, and kids are enjoying playing with each other. They're playing hard every night. It just seems like our league and the parity within it, every game comes down to the last 4 or 5 minutes. And we've been there for the last 4 or 5 minutes. We just haven't been able to close them out. And last few weeks, we've been able to find a way to do that.
Talking with Mike Moskowitz in his fourth year as head men's basketball coach at Western State, and anybody who's seen your team this year, Coach, there's one guy who really stands out above the rest. His name is Charles Joseph, 6'8", out of Brooklyn, New York. Kind of tell me how Charles wound up on your basketball team, and what kind of a fit has he been?
Charles is he's a tremendous guy. I mean, as big as he is, he's got that big of a heart to go along with it. we started recruiting Charles in late April and had a connection through the Salt Lake Community College and also his AAU coach in Brooklyn. I'm from the D.C. area, so we had some familiarization as far as people. But Charles is one of those guys that, coming out of high school, he was a top 150 player in the nation and had an unfortunate accident where he got shot 6 times. And once he got shot, he kind of went to the hospital, and he was 6'7", 275 at that time. And when he went to the hospital for 3.5 months, he ballooned to about 310, 315. And it's just been a challenge to get that weight off. But he works extremely hard, very, very coachable, and we're looking forward to him for the next year and a half here to really progress into one of the best players in the RMAC.
Talking with Mike Moskowitz, head men's basketball coach at Western State, and that's kind of a rarity in the RMAC, coach, to have a guy that size down in the low post. I imagine it helps the rest of your offense as well.
It does. It does. Conditioning at altitude is sometimes a challenge, and for somebody that large, it's been a 2 or 3 month process to get him acclimated to the altitude, to be able to play at the rate that we need him to. But he's slowly done that, and he's been a tremendous force as far as just on the block and defensively and all those things, and it helps everybody else around to become better players.
Talking with Mike Moskowitz, and Western State will be on the road this weekend. They're going to play at CCU Friday night, then at Colorado Mines Saturday night. Coach, as we mentioned, 22-game conference schedule. We got 11 games in, so we're going to be coming down the home stretch here. How important is it to play well this weekend?
It's big time. I think every game right now for everybody is big, and we go into every game thinking we can beat anybody, and we've proven that we're there for 36 minutes. If we can play the complete 40, we can beat most teams in the league. So this weekend's big. Go against Christian, who hasn't played particularly well, but they play extremely hard, and they're well disciplined. It looks like the new coach there is doing a good job. And then to be able to go into Mines is Jim, who had a heartbreaker this weekend over there at Adams and bounced back and played well against Fort Lewis. And they'll be top 10 in the nation probably next week also. So it's always a challenge in the RMAC to pull one out on the road, but we feel pretty good about it.
Well, hey, Coach, we want to thank you for taking some time out, and good luck the rest of the way.
Hey, thanks, Eric. I appreciate you guys having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. That is Mike Moskowitz, head men's basketball coach at Western State. And for those of you who pay a lot of attention to the RMAC radio show, we had his wife, Katie Moskowitz, on earlier this year. She is the head volleyball coach at Western State, so they're plenty busy, especially having kids and all that good stuff. And Western State, a huge win over Colorado Mesa, 58-57. One of the big games coming up this weekend will be in Denver. And for more on that, let's head over to Chris Polton at the RMAC Sports Desk.
Thanks, Eric. Metro State back to their winning ways and have to be on top of their game this weekend, hosting Fort Lewis on Friday and then Adams State on Saturday. The Grizzlies are coming off a big win over Colorado Mines last weekend and are now just 2 games back of Metro. The Orediggers enter the weekend at 9-2 and host 2 at Lockridge Arena. Colorado Mesa aims to stay above 500, taking on Mines Friday night. Then it's Western State on Saturday night. The Mountaineers are riding a 2-game winning streak and are 4-7 in conference. UC Colorado Springs is 6-5 and look to improve on that at home this weekend. Nebraska Kearney sits 4th in conference with a 7-4 mark. The Lopers hit Colorado Springs on Friday night. Then it's Chadron State playing the Mountain Lions on Saturday night. The Eagles have won 2 straight and sit 2 games back of the 8th spot. Western New Mexico, just 1 game back of the 8th spot, has a chance to change that. The Mustangs host upstate rival New Mexico Highlands, who comes into the weekend at 6-6, losers of 2 straight. That game will be played in Silver City on Saturday night. Regis looks to end their 4-game slide, hosting Adams on Friday night, and then Saturday it's Fort Lewis. Lastly, there's Colorado Christian also looking to end a losing streak. The Cougars have the Western State Mountaineers on Friday night and then CMU on Saturday night. You can watch all the games online at America One Network. I'm Chris Polton, and that's your men's basketball update.
Thank you, Chris. When we come back, we're going to talk with Kip Drown, the head women's basketball coach at CSU Pueblo. You're listening to the RMAC Radio Show.